When it comes to living life, there's a lot to overthink, but I don't ever have to overthink my water. I've been drinking Smart Water for years and truly love its pure, crisp taste. It's vapor distilled through a process inspired by clouds. I love chic branding, and Smart Water's sleek bottle shape makes it the perfect accessory for any day bag, workout tote, or backpack. Smart Water is the smart way to hydrate no matter what you have going on in your life. Life is full of choices. Smart Water is a simple one. Visit drinksmartwater.com to learn more.
Hear that? Yeah, that's the sound of you relaxing, because now you're managing diabetes with the Freestyle Libre 3 system. You get to know your glucose levels and where it's headed. Manage your diabetes with more confidence with the Freestyle Libre 3 system. Ready to learn more about the #1 prescribed CGM in the U.S.? Visit freestylelibre.us to learn more. Based on retail sales data for patients' last filled prescription by manufacturer. Refer to the FLAIR NL4 study published in BMJ Open Diabetes Research and Care 2019. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.
This is Dr. Laurie Santos from the Happiness Lab. Many people have questions about how to improve levels of happiness. Living a healthy lifestyle is one sure way of increasing happiness. And a good place to start is with your oral health. Just a few small changes to your oral care routine, such as changing your toothpaste to Colgate Total, can lead to beneficial changes in your oral health. Colgate Total helps stop oral health problems like gingivitis and cavities before they start, because preventing oral health problems is a lot easier than treating them. Be dentist ready and get Colgate Total at shop.colgate.com/total.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Zoe, and you're listening to Climbing in Heels. This show is all about celebrating the most extraordinary superwomen who will be sharing their incredible journeys to the top, all while staying glamorous. Okay, I'm very excited for all of you to listen to this episode, and I know you're going to learn a lot, and you're going to love it, so enjoy. Well, first of all, I'm so excited to have you on. I could talk to you for days. So this podcast is different than yours. Yours is genius, but mine is called Climbing in Heels. And I started Climbing in Heels really because first, I really was not supported by women coming up in my career. And so part of my life's mission was to make sure that I always was a woman supporting other women, whether it was mentoring or talking about people's challenges and triumphs and helping women in every way that I could. And I think every woman would tell you how their struggle was real. The journey is not easy in any way. And they weren't lightly handed things, even when people seemingly say, oh, she knew this person or she was born into that, so this was easy for her. And so I wanted to really demystify and uncover a little bit of the journey to how these incredible women got to where they are. And we all fall, we trip, we fall, we get up, we have wins, we have fails that we think are fails that no one even sees, right? And you know, I think most of the women that I've had on would say that they have done it in heels, but I would say 50% have said, I cannot wear heels. And I was like, well, heels is just really saying it's a metaphor and really talking about how we embrace the powers, the superpowers that we all have in being a woman and what those different powers are and how we use them. So I always like to start sort of, you know, from the beginning a little bit of like, where did you grow up and who were you? Like, were you this wild child running around like a lunatic, like, you know, starting trouble? Were you shy? Because I do find very often some of the most successful people I know are like, oh, I was so shy that I couldn't even talk to anybody or whatever. So I love to kind of hear a little bit what kind of girl you were growing up.
Well, first of all, I just want to go back and say, isn't it sad that some of the toughest times that we have or the things that are said about us, it's always women.
99.9% of my issues have always been.
Yes.
From
women. Men generally don't go home and discuss women.
Not in that
way. And what they're doing. Exactly. Unless it's sexual.
Correct.
Exactly. So, you know, I find that really, really sad because we all say that we want to help women, but women are the ones, if I go down my Instagram, that body shame you, mum shame you, business shame you, And it's not men.
It's true. It's
So
true.
that's
No, and I
interesting.
talk very openly about that because it was something I struggled with my whole life, and I still do on some level. But I can't become one of them.
No, you cannot. I let it be. It is just facts. But I think what's interesting is when I started, I had an internet company back in the day. So I fell into reality TV totally by accident. But my biggest advocates and help were women, very successful women. Some of the investors in Net-a-Porter, all of this, they all helped me. But as a child, I think I was at boarding school from I talk about this a lot, 6 to 18. So my whole life was spent in boarding school. And I think that really, really had a profound effect on me. But the way I hold, my relationships, the way I'm very insular because I'm very outgoing, but I'm insular. Like I won't share my problems because, I like to just deal with them. And I mean that with my husband too. So like, I can be lying next to him and the world's about to cave in, but I'll be like, shut up, I'm dealing with it, instead of going. And I think that I was just taught that because from a very early age, you learn that no matter, obviously you don't have business problems back then, but you have other problems, right? I don't know.
And by the way, they're quite similar.
Yeah. Silly things that you're learning about, when you're little, you're 6 or 7, you still wet the bed, and you're screamed at to get out of bed and clean your mess up. And you're like, I have 6-year-olds and I have young children. I can't imagine putting them there now or screaming at them because they wet the bed. And that just makes you wet the bed again.
100%.
And it's like, yes. So, I think, and I was in an all-girls school, I was in a mixed school at one stage because I went to lots of schools. I hated it so much. And we were, when we got dressed in the morning, everyone would go 5, 3, 10. And, so you had that to contend with as soon as you came to breakfast from the boys. Or you had like, I didn't like fruit. I won't eat fruit to this day because we were served grapefruit, which is really a tough fruit to eat.
I don't know a child that eats grapefruit.
And there'd be no, nor do I. So 300 of us would be in a room, in our breakfast room, and they would make the entire school wait for me while I gagged over my grape soup. So I cannot eat fruit. So there's just so many weird things. I suppose everyone asked me how I became what I became. And as much as I hate it, I guess the success and the not the success because I'm not the most successful woman on the planet, but I guess the resilience of being able to be knocked down but get back up on my own, and not feel the embarrassment or not feel like I'm going to give up because I got that from that experience. I only went home three times a year really, or holidays, and so I wasn't at school with my brothers and sisters either. So we were all at different schools. And actually, I'm doing a bit on Housewives now where I'm talking to my mum and they want me to sort of have this conversation with them because we don't have husbands or anything like this. And I'm sitting there and she goes, but darling, you made great friends at school, didn't you, darling? And I'm like, I don't have one. But darling, you came home? And I'm like, yeah, 3 times a year.
Oh my God. See,
it's just a different generation.
Wild. So I have a question, and so I've never even heard of children going that young. I think the youngest I know that goes to boarding school is 12 or 13. I didn't even know that that was an option because it's not such a thing here in the States, right? So were a lot of your other like families, friends doing that, or was this just
it's what anyone with money did? Yeah. So it was like
it was a known thing. This is what you do. It's what you do.
Yeah, this is, if you have money, that's what you do, because we all lived in, they all lived in these giant country houses in the middle of nowhere. And obviously they're not going to drive their kids to school every day because that would require work.
Right, sure.
So no, that's just what everybody did. I mean, I asked not to come home anymore because
it was harder.
Coming home was so much harder to go back.
So were you close with your parents then? Or because I think the thing I want to understand is sort of like, so you weren't being sent there because you were a problem kid. You were just being sent there because that's what they did. That's what you did. That was the thing.
They overly loved
me.
Right.
So it made it
what you
so
do
much
when you
harder.
Want the best for your child. Yeah. Like in their mind, they were, literally giving me the golden Willy Wonka ticket.
Like you're lucky to do this.
Oh, 100%. So like, and that's what you do. And you pull up your socks and darling, you'll just get used to it. We all went.
Oh my God.
Um,
Wild.
so, but when I went to one therapist, he said, it's like you were in the military for years because when you're that young, he said, it's like you went to the army. So, because you wake up in the morning at 6 a.m. with no one goes around your room. They put a gong at the back of your door. So every day you're like, oh, I'm up. Then you have to line up. And you get dressed, make your bed, and then everybody lines in a line. Then they go this room, this room, this room, and you march down to breakfast. And it's the army. It is. I don't think it would be allowed now, to be honest.
Well, yeah. I mean, they have those, I mean, it's crazy because I've been having a lot of conversations with my European friends with, their girls want to go to boarding school. And some of my friends in the States, the boys want to go to boarding school and they're 13, 14, things like that. And I'm like, we're living in such a culture now where like my son is at a 3-week sleepaway camp and I like cry every night because I feel like I'm missing an appendage. And I'm like, it's wild because I went to sleepaway camp for 8 weeks every summer since I was 8 years old. And I felt the way you felt. Like, why are they doing this to me? This is crazy. Like, and
but your son is probably loving every day.
Loves it.
And so you have to let him go.
Correct.
And my son just went to a summer camp in Geneva for 3 weeks. And there you go. They're twins. One son cried every day. I said, give it a week.
That was me.
And I brought him home. And then the other son has made more friends and he's been there 2 years now and he can't wait till the next year. And he absolutely loves it. So he is staying.
That is so funny.
And it's just different strokes for different folks, but they chose. And that my daughter is going away. Obviously, she wants to go to university in America. So like she woke up and said, she cannot wait. Well, that's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
There's nothing more amazing than that she wants to. I would never force my child to stay there, knowing what it did to me.
That is so interesting. And I imagine that so much of who you are, the good and the things you struggle with really come from that, because obviously those are the years we become who we are, right? I mean,
I mean, everyone laughs. I can't hug. I'm terrible at hugging. I don't know what to do. If someone cries, I kind of tap you.
Oh, God.
When
I see you, I'm going to hug you. I just want you to know that. I'm giving you an advance.
American. You're American. That's what you do, isn't it?
I'm a hugger.
We'll have a very long, awkward hug.
Well, COVID was super awkward because I would see people and be like, hi. Like, hey.
Yeah. No, I don't mind, in America, especially because people know my background now and everybody wants to hug me. It's so funny. But I still haven't hugged my mom. And the funny thing is, doing this podcast, she listened to one. I was like, how the fuck do I block them from Spotify? And
that's amazing.
She listened to one. And my dad called me and goes, darling, don't you feel we should hug? And I'm like, oh my God, that was when I was like, oh, I need to get them off my podcast.
I also feel like most of my Brit friends are not huggers. I mean, I'm going to just say it. They like say everything. They say nothing, but they say everything. And it's everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. Everything will be fine.
Yes.
But okay. So just take me through. So first of all, did you go to college then? I'm going to assume maybe no. Right? Because you were like, I'm free. Like
I'm free. 18. You couldn't have paid me to go back in. I went straight to work. There was no amount of money that was going to send me off of that. And I also regret that. I kind of wish I'd had, I see all of you guys has your sorority experiences.
I didn't.
I'm watching.
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't?
I didn't do sorority.
Okay.
I did go to school. I did go to university and I did go for 4 years. And what I would say I took from that was I grew up and learned to be on my own, and I met my husband. But I think had my parents said, you don't have to go and you can start working, I probably would have started my own business by the time I was 19, 20. Like I was a worker. I was like you. And I asked that not because with judgment, but only because I really believe that education does not define who you are in any way at all. And I think we're all different learners. And I think thankfully in this moment in time, I think parents are finally starting to admit that not every child learns the same way. School isn't for everybody. You do need to learn. You do need to be educated. But like, you also need to make sure that your kids are enjoying the learning process and also that they have strong EQs as well as IQs and all those things. So, because I argue that, an EQ, a good EQ will take you further in life than any IQ will, unless you're like creating the next, internet sensation, or God only knows, or
Street smart.
curing cancer. I mean, great. Do you go into medicine?
Follow your family footsteps.
Exactly.
Following your family's footsteps. But I got very lucky, I suppose. I was left a bit of money, and not like ridiculous,
Right.
just enough to buy my first apartment.
Right.
So I could own an apartment, which meant I only had to like pay the bills, right? So which gave me the foot up that, I kind of, they had no choice.
Right.
It wasn't their choice anymore.
Right.
I'm sorry, they weren't supporting me. They weren't giving me the money. I bought my own house. I rented a room out, and off I went. That was it. Their control was over.
Right. And it's the most liberating feeling in the entire world. But I do think what's interesting is how you kind of did this, and it was very like, I don't know, you left with all this trauma, right? But then you go into the world, and then like, so what happens? You're on your own, and you're like, okay, you weren't like, I want to be in TV. You're like, I want to start a business, right?
No, I'm a very, very kind, positive person, even through everything. Like, I'm very positive. I always look at, I'm a cup is half full person. Good. So I started, I told you, like, I ended up shopping for like kind of styling, but it wasn't styling. It was more shopping for very wealthy clients. Which then when I got each client, it added to, because they began to trust me. They wanted, their gifts done, and, things for their house, because they were in the office all day. Yeah. So I ended up like really running their lives in a way, and like for big names that you for sure would know. And I did that for so many years, and it became so successful that then I was like, and then I was doing, I never had time to do gifts, to go for dinner parties, birthdays, and all this. And I watched, it was the time that Net-a-Porter was launched. I watched that come up and like rise up in fashion.
Natalie.
Oh my God, I want to be.
She's the queen.
Exactly.
She's the queen.
Yeah. And actually, my birthday was just like 2 years ago, just thrown by Arnaud, and I love them all.
They're such good people.
Yeah, so I'm
such good
Carmen was the first person to really put her hand out and help me tell me where to go to, like, up my website and get the packaging.
She's brilliant. She is someone, to go to your earlier point, someone who does everything she says she's going to do and means everything that she says. And it's so beautiful. 100%. It's so beautiful.
100%. She put her hand out and said, these are all our supplies. I mean, considering they were just going, and I was like amazing. Wow. So I started a company called giftlibrary.com, which I raised, I think in the end, just under 10 million or 9 million pounds. And, I think that when we started, it was just, I was just at home, just like dining room table, but it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then, I don't really know how, they say that business is like that, isn't it?
Yes.
It's a wheel, and then it has grows a life of its own. But unfortunately, I had two early on seed investors that just didn't like each other, and the whole thing kind of blew up.
It happens.
As it happens.
As it happens more often than not happens, truth be told.
Yes. But you know what? Actually, I think it was some sort of blessing in disguise. Because the stress levels, I ran that company for 7 or 8 years. Wow. And and I had 76 female employees. And we were in many countries. I was so stressed out.
It's you burn out.
I was burnt out. I really was, because I was doing everything. And when I started from home, I never said that I could run a business that size, or nor did I know how to. It was kind of like I was winging it. Yeah. But you kind of learn everything. And I was hoping that these people, that when I got money from public funds and things like this, and when they invested, I thought they were going to put a management team in, and I would get to do the pretty parts again. Because as you know, once you have a company like that, people put money in, you're now a slave to them. Not only that, you don't get to do the styling anymore. Nothing. You're now doing the admin.
Nope. That's, by the way, that's why I stopped making clothes. I stopped making clothes because it was 10% creative, and the rest was just a nightmare, And I said, this isn't what I want to do with my life.
No, it's not how we started out. It's not what we envisaged. You're dealing with human resources and not creatives, which is what we are.
Correct.
So I felt completely drained by it, and also overwhelmed, because I'm like, I never said I could do this.
Right.
Like for the rest
but
of
it
my
goes
life.
like this. But here's my question. How much did you learn from those 7-8 years? It's incomparable.
So much.
Right? Like it's
so much.
And, something we talk about a lot on Climbing in Heels is how, instead of sometimes looking at things as I failed, because we do that as women, right? Like I beat myself up all the time. Like I failed at this, even if it's something dumb, like it's just be like, I suck. Right. And it's funny because the minute you step away from what you were doing, you go, thank God I'm not doing that anymore. I wasn't even happy doing that. Like what? Because when you're in it, you can't see. Right.
Well, we have ego.
Yes.
You have ego and shame. And we're public people. I put my fucking face on a bus.
Of course.
On a London bus. Yeah. So like,
and London is no joke. London has no offense. I love it. And I want to move there, but like they have no mercy on people, like none. I remember the
Daily Mail.
I mean, I have to say, oddly, the Daily Mail has been pretty kind to me over the years, which shocks the hell out of me. I don't want to jinx it. Now they're going to say something terrible. But I would say that the UK is really, it's intense and it can be terrifying about the way people take something and run and create and whatever. But I think for you, I think the most important thing here is like that you're actually this really badass entrepreneur who really, and quite similarly, which is why I always like to talk about college or no college or whatever. I haven't had a woman on this podcast I have a few that didn't graduate high school. I have many that did not go to college. And without fail, when they say I didn't go to college, they do follow it with what you said, which is, but I regret it and I should go back. And then I went back and da-da-da. And then I go, why? What are you missing? What do you think you're missing? And I'm not saying people shouldn't go to college. You absolutely should. Don't, whatever. I like to say that sometimes you can learn more in a year building a company than you can ever learn in textbooks in college, right? And so I think that your plan, it's like we always say, we make a plan and God laughs, right? It's sort of, I think everything happens as it should. And I think everything that we very often view as a failure ends up really being the actual soul and the foundation for the thing we do next, which actually takes us to, or the thing after that, right? I mean, would you agree?
Well, I learned 100%. I never want to be in charge of that many human lives.
Never. I had 100, and if I could do 5, that's great.
Me too. I learned that I never want to be beholden to men that think that they can do my job better than they can. I learned small is better, small and steady. I no longer want the private jet and the private island. I'm okay.
You're living great.
I'm living great.
You're doing great, sweetie. You're doing great.
Thank you. But that's honestly what I was so driven. I was watching Natalie Mazzame going, I want the island. I want that. And then I watch all these movies now that are all documentaries. And I'm going, that's probably what would have happened to me.
100%.
100%. That's what happens. How do you get bigger and bigger and bigger? And people keep investing, and then there's no way out because you're beholden to all these people, and it's just a machine. And so God really saved me. And I'm not even religious. I'm not either. I was on a ski trip. And I cried and cried and cried.
Well, because you're embarrassed. Oh my God. You're embarrassed. You're ashamed. You don't want to. I
was embarrassed. I had no time. I didn't know it was going to happen. It was one of the investors called a civil liquidator. So once that's done, there's no way back.
Of course.
I could have raised the money in 2 minutes. But actually, I was like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me in my entire fucking life. And it's turned out to be the best.
Right.
I wouldn't be in Dubai. I wouldn't be with my husband.
Yep.
I wouldn't be on the Housewives, and which is, hilarious. But I gave up. When I did the first show, yes. I was like, I'm never doing this again.
Right. Well, haven't you learned yet? Never say never. I've learned that.
Never say never.
I have learned that because everything I said I'd never do, I've done. So I have to just not ever say that again.
Yeah. I was like, I am not going on reality TV again. I'm done with this. It's like, the worst thing in the world, and I'm back. But I'm back more on my own terms and with hindsight.
Right.
And most people don't get to do something with hindsight. I was very young when I started, and reality TV wasn't back then a thing in the UK.
Right.
It wasn't. I think we had The Only Way is Essex, but that was about it.
Right.
Now it's a thing, and now I know what to do.
So tell me, okay, so at what point in this part, after this company was no more, the gift library, were you married at that point?
I was still married, and then
how old were you when you got married?
28.
Oh, okay.
No,
okay, so normal.
Young.
Okay.
Yeah. We met at 26.
Okay.
A first baby by 30.
Right.
I did everything that you're meant to do.
Right. Yeah. Which we know isn't as it should be.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you have 3 incredible kids, so you walk away and go.
Yeah, but I would tell my were absolutely no children before
No.
30 or 35. There's no rush.
Doesn't that
None.
does having kids at 28 to you feel like 18 now?
Yes.
It does, right?
100%. I mean, that's why I'm like so impressed by Sergio's mother even letting me be with him, because if my kids came home with a woman nearly 18 years older with 3 kids, I would like, just, let me tell you, it just wouldn't happen.
But it's so funny. But then he could say, you know what, Mom, you don't decide that for me. And that's the part that I think as parents, like, we don't choose who we fall in love with, right? And we don't.
Well, he did.
Well, he did, yes. But like, he did, but he could walk away, but he can't. Like, I'm sure we have a lot of friends that would say, I wish this person didn't fall in love with me, or I wish I didn't.
Anyone can walk away.
You can.
Yeah, that's my point.
You know? So we get divorced. We have 3 kids. How long was your first marriage? Tell me.
18 years.
So, I mean, that's a real freaking marriage.
That's a proper marriage.
That is a proper marriage. That is not a blip.
That's not a prelude.
That is not a blip.
18 years is not. No, I tend to stick at things. I'm not a quitter, and also he's a great man. Like, he's my friend now.
But I don't want to undersell that, because I think that is probably the most paramount. That is the most important thing in a divorce, because I see so often it's like, at some point, it's like you just shouldn't be married anymore because you're different. You fell out of love, whatever the reasons are. It doesn't mean you have to hate each other, right?
No, exactly. For all the reasons, those are the reasons that we broke up.
Right.
And, he would have stuck it out because he's a much better man than I am.
I don't know about that, though, because is that good for the kids? No.
No, it's not.
Is that good for you? No.
Of course not. Or him.
Or him.
Because it would be sticking it out.
Mm-hmm.
And we just have different friends, different interests, different lives. Yeah. And, it's not because some terrible, terrible thing. That's what people don't understand. They're like, well, who did what?
Right, of course. Who cheated?
Yeah. Well, let's go to cheating. So I never asked. Don't really care, because that's not why we got divorced. I'm not looking to ask him because I really don't want to know.
And by the way,
not the problem.
The fact that you don't care is just the number one reason that
we're getting divorced. Yes, there you go.
I have a friend that literally was like, she's been miserable for so long. And I literally said to her, well, do you think he's having an affair? She goes, don't care. I'm like, babe, like at the point you don't know, you don't care. I think it's time.
Yeah, when you think that the girl that he's having an affair with is actually doing you a favor, it's over. Give me a number because I need to send her flowers.
Yes, exactly. So then I want to understand. So you're on TV, you do all the things, you got divorced, but like there is another business.
Yeah.
When it comes to living life, there's a lot to overthink. Like most working moms, I am constantly juggling my work and my family life, and sometimes all that decision making is truly exhausting. But at least I don't ever have to overthink my water. I've been drinking Smart Water for many, many years and truly love its pure, crisp taste. It's vapor distilled through a process inspired by clouds and has added electrolytes for taste. The first thing I do when I wake up in the morning, every morning, is head down to my kitchen to drink water. Hydrating with Smart Water is my favorite way to start the day, and making that simple choice is such a refreshing change of pace from the whirlwind of my life. Starting my day by focusing on myself and my health is so important to me. I'm always a lover of chic branding and packaging, and Smart Water's sleek bottle shape makes it the perfect accessory for any day bag, workout tote, or backpack. I absolutely love how the rounded bottle fits perfectly into my kids' side pockets for school or camp. Smart Water even looks chic displayed on any counter or vanity in my house. As most moms know, it can be tricky to get kids to drink enough water, but my boys absolutely love the taste of Smart Water, and the sports cup is great for their very, very active days. Smart Water is the smart way to hydrate no matter what you have going on in your life. Life is full of choices. Smart Water is a simple one. Visit drinksmartwater.com to learn more.
My dad works in B2B marketing, but I never really knew what that meant. Then one day, my dad came by my school for career day and told everyone in my class he was a big MQL man. Then he just kept saying things like, the more MQLs, the better, over and over. My friends still laugh at me to this day. I think it means marketing qualified lead. One thing's for sure. I'll be known as the MQL man's kid for the rest of my days. Why couldn't you just be a fireman or a lawyer? Why? You ruined my life, Dad.
Not everyone gets B2B, but LinkedIn has the people who do. And with ads on LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people based on job title, industry, likelihood to buy, and more. Start converting your B2B audience into high-quality leads today. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/customer to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/customer. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
AI might be the most important new computer technology ever. It's storming every industry, and literally billions of dollars are being invested. So, buckle up. The problem is that AI needs a lot of speed and processing power. So how do you compete without costs spiraling out of control? It's time to upgrade to the next generation of the cloud, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or OCI. OCI is a single platform for your infrastructure, database, application development, and AI needs. OCI has 4 to 8 times the bandwidth of other clouds, offers one consistent price instead of variable regional pricing, and of course, nobody does data better than Oracle. So now you can train your AI models at twice the speed and less than half the cost of other clouds. If you want to do more and spend less like Uber, 8x8, and Databricks Mosaic, take a free test drive of OCI at oracle.com/strategic. That's oracle.com/strategic. oracle.com/strategic.
When it comes to living life, there's a lot to overthink. Like most working moms, I'm constantly juggling my work and my family life, and sometimes all that decision-making is truly exhausting. But at least I don't ever have to overthink my water. I've been drinking Smart Water for many, many years and truly love its pure, crisp taste. It's vapor distilled through a process inspired by clouds and has added electrolytes for taste. The first thing I do when I wake up in the morning, every morning, is head down to my kitchen to drink water. Hydrating with Smart Water is my favorite way to start the day, and making that simple choice is such a refreshing change of pace from the whirlwind of my life. Starting my day by focusing on myself and my health is so important to me. I'm always a lover of chic branding and packaging, and Smart Water's sleek bottle shape makes it the perfect accessory for any day bag, workout tote, or backpack. I absolutely love how the rounded bottle fits perfectly into my kids' side pockets for school or camp. Smart Water even looks chic displayed on any counter or vanity in my house. As most moms know, it can be tricky to get kids to drink enough water, but my boys absolutely love the taste of Smart Water, and the sports cup is great for their very, very active days. Smart Water is the smart way to hydrate no matter what you have going on in your life. Life is full of choices. Smart Water is a simple one. Visit drinksmartwater.com to learn more.
You hear more and more about identity theft in the news every day. Maybe that's because so much of your personal information is out of your control. Like your insurance provider that has your social security number, and your favorite retailer that has your payment details. If they get breached, your information is vulnerable. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second for identity threats. If your identity is stolen, a LifeLock US-based restoration specialist will help solve identity theft issues on your behalf, guaranteed, or your money back. Plus, all LifeLock plans are backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, meaning LifeLock will reimburse you up to the limits of your plan if you lose money due to identity theft. You might not be able to control how others handle your personal information, but you can help protect it with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year at LifeLock.com/iHeart. That's 40% off your first year at LifeLock.com/iHeart. Terms apply.
Have you made the switch to Knix? Millions of women have made the switch to the revolutionary period underwear from Knix. That's Knix. Period panties from Knix are like no other, making them the #1 leak-proof underwear brand in North America. They're comfy, stylish, and absorbent, perfect for period protection from your lightest to your heaviest days. They look, feel, and machine wash just like regular underwear, but feature incognito protection that has you covered. You can shop sizes from extra small to 4XL. Choose from all kinds of colors, prints, and different styles, from bikinis to boy shorts, thongs to high-rise. You've got to try Knix. See why millions are ditching disposable, wasteful period products and have switched to Knix. Go to knix.com and get 15% off with promo code TRY15. That's Knix.com, promo code TRY15 for 15% off life-changing period underwear. That's KNIX.com.
When it comes to living life, there's a lot to overthink. Like most working moms, I am constantly juggling my work and my family life, and sometimes all that decision-making is truly exhausting. But at least I don't ever have to overthink my water. I've been drinking Smart Water for many, many years and truly love its pure, crisp taste. It's vapor distilled through a process inspired by clouds and has added electrolytes for taste. The first thing I do when I wake up in the morning, every morning, is head down to my kitchen to drink water. Hydrating with Smart Water is my favorite way to start the day, and making that simple choice is such a refreshing change of pace from the whirlwind of my life. Starting my day by focusing on myself and my health is so important to me. I'm always a lover of chic branding and packaging, and Smart Water's sleek bottle shape makes it the perfect accessory for any day bag, workout tote, or backpack. I absolutely love how the rounded bottle fits perfectly into my kids' side pockets for school or camp. Smart Water even looks chic displayed on any counter or vanity in my house. As most moms know, it can be tricky to get kids to drink enough water, but my boys absolutely love the taste of Smart Water, and the sports cup is great for their very, very active days. Smart Water is the smart way to hydrate no matter what you have going on in your life. Life is full of choices. Smart Water is a simple one. Visit drinksmartwater.com to learn more.
Have you made the switch to Knix? Millions of women have made the switch to the revolutionary period underwear from Knix. That's KNIX. Period panties from Knix are like no other, making them the #1 leak-proof underwear brand in North America. They're comfy, stylish, and absorbent, perfect for period protection from your lightest to your heaviest days. They look, feel, and machine wash just like regular underwear, but feature incognito protection that has you covered. You can shop sizes from extra small to 4XL. Choose from all kinds of colors, prints, and different styles, from bikinis to boy shorts, thongs to high-rise. You've got to try Knix. See why millions are ditching disposable, wasteful period products and have switched to Knix. Go to knix.com and get 15% off with promo code TRY15. That's knix.com, promo code TRY15 for 15% off life-changing period underwear. That's knix.com.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.
So tell me.
Now, what do I do now?
Right.
So now I got to Dubai, and I was like, I knew no one. I'd never.
No, wait. Why did you go to Dubai? Just because?
For my ex-husband, his business started. He works in Kazakhstan. So it was just easier for him, the traveling. And actually, after the company went down, I was already embarrassed. And then I had a civil law case with a civil liquidator, which is a nightmare for 8 years. So I just wanted out. So I was super happy to have a new life. And I was like, I'm going to be the best wife ever. I'm not even going to work. I don't need to work. I'm going home to cook. And no, seriously, that's what was in my head.
And how did that work out?
Well, it lasted about a month
Right.
before I was literally pulling out my hair.
I see you, friend.
school.
I see you, friend.
Yeah. Did my house, decorated, and then I was like, now what? I had no friends. I didn't know Dubai. So I was like, now what am I going to do? And he was out all day. So I put myself out there because I was still slightly famous from, I suppose, Ladies of
Right.
London. And so here they don't have famous people. I told
Right.
you this. They have money.
Right.
They have everything else. They don't have famous
Yeah.
people. So I was quite, everyone wanted to know me here. They invited me everywhere. And I went to one or two of these huge ladies' lunches. And I was like, that's not going to work for me. I cannot do these ladies' lunches at all. So there was 20 people. You take 20 photographs. Then you have to invite the 20 people back. So I just stood up and said, look, girls, I just need you to know I'm not inviting any of you back. And I don't do lunch. So don't worry about inviting me. So that was the end of my friendship with all of those women. So I got home and I was like, I'm going to have to occupy myself somehow. And I put myself out there because people knew I was there, and I became a brand ambassador. I don't think that everyone always laughs when I say that because they don't really know what it is, and nor do I.
Is it a nicer term for an influencer?
I guess it is. Yeah, like, but you kind of more work. No, influencer means I think that you work for one post for a brand or two posts, and you just do
Depends,
things.
Right?
I kind of became the face of, like, I've been working with Jacob & Co. for like 4 years now.
Got it.
Accor Group, the largest hotel group in the world. I've worked with them for a good 3 and a bit years.
So it's a handful. It's like you're literally a voice and a face and a brand ambassador. Okay, I totally get it.
Yeah. So like for the whole brand. So I travel with them.
It's a consistent relationship. It's a partnership. It's a relationship. Yes.
Exactly.
Totally.
You're hyped. You
understood.
Well, you stay.
It's more consistent. It's more consistent.
Yes. So anyway, I started doing this and became quite successful here at that. And then I was like, okay. Then the TV show came, and I started the podcast, and that became quite a big earner for me, I suppose. And then, and I got amazing guests. Even though I started here, I got amazing guests. I got super lucky, and people just started coming on. And I think one of my biggest coups, as I told you, was Susan, because I started a charity here and we became friends. And I invited Susan, Madeline Stowe, Ben Stiller, and I got to know them all. And, and one of my most unlikely things was my friendship with her, which we've maintained. And then, so that did well. And then I started the TV show. So I'm not an amazing mogul. I have a nice life.
I don't think you should say that, because I actually think, when I say at the top doesn't have any measure, right? The top is just that you have forged a path through, in my opinion, many challenges and many triumphs and many, and I think, look, I would say you're a survivor. I don't care how much money anyone grew up with. I don't care. I've had, the foster girls, the this, the that. There's, I'm sure you've heard in the States, there's a big thing called like Nepo babies and like the whole thing.
Yeah, Nepo babies.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you have. Yes,
you still have to.
It does. And there isn't a person I know that grew up in wealth that hasn't owned the fact, like, yes, maybe certain things were easier. As you mentioned, like, okay, I had enough money to have a home. So I wasn't like sleeping on someone's couch, and I knew that I had to survive and pay my this and my that, whatever. But like, you can own that. That doesn't mean it's easy. That doesn't mean you're not crying yourself to sleep at night, like worrying it's going to go under.
I built a huge company. I went into one of the biggest hedge funds in Europe and raised money. Good luck with that.
It's the hardest thing in the whole world.
Hardest thing in the world. That is not easy. I did that myself. I was sued for that, not by any of my investors, by a civil liquidator that obviously saw my Instagram and decided I was really wealthy and he was coming after everything. For 8 years of my life, I cannot believe that. Where I had forensic accountants going through my bank account, so that it was hard to even like buy a flight without justifying it, for 8 years. And I don't think you can understand how hard that is unless you've ever been sued. But on a Friday, they always love to send you a letter because you can't respond till the Monday. Course. And these guys are sharp.
They are. There's so many of them.
You just learn to live with that. And I learned to have to deal with it. But I tell you what, I didn't really want to earn much money at that time, because I was like, it just goes to lawyers.
Yes.
It just goes, somebody's taking it. I just make it and it flies out the window, So I was like, why am I working? Because everybody else is just taking what I'm not enjoying it. I don't get to go, and it's like, not like I can go out and buy a nice handbag or, I don't know, do anything, because I feel guilty because I know the other bill's coming.
Isn't that wild?
Your life, wild.
It's wild.
And it's so awful, because I spent my 43rd birthday in Queen's Court in the UK. And I actually won everything. I got all the costs back, 1.1 million.
Oh, good for you.
Everything back. And I looked him in the eye, and obviously, they weren't too happy, which was great for me. But I was like, you know what? There was one point he looked at the judge was female, actually. He looked at the judge and he goes, well, she lost over, I think it was 500,000 in 1 month or something, or, close, maybe a bit more. Can't remember the numbers. But anyway, she goes, yes, she was giving birth to twins. And I'd forgotten the date because, I'm like this, I'm quite scatty. And she was like, yes, she was in hospital giving birth to twins at that. And that's why I just looked at him and I was like, I hate
your dirty soul. I hate your dirty soul.
Your soul. And I just looked at him the whole way through this court case. And I was like, you know what? All of these things, when I came out the other side, everyone told me settle. Let me tell you, my parents.
Oh, I'm sure. I was going to ask you what your parents were saying about this.
Everybody said you're not going to win because I'm basically arguing with the tax.
Yeah.
Right. And when I won, I went all the way because I was like, you know what? I'm so bloody minded. I was like, I would rather lose my home, which is what they were going to take from me, and start again than watch him take one penny from me right now and know that I gave it to him freely.
Isn't that funny? I'm exactly the same, and I would have done the same. I would have died trying, honestly, because by the way, that's how it continues, right? So by doing what you just did, it shows men like that
he won't do it again. I think he lost his home.
Exactly. But that's the thing. And if you had just settled, he would just keep doing that, right?
And he would have taken my children's inheritance. He was going to take my children's inheritance, my, like everything I've worked for. I'm just going to give it to a man I've never met that's just decided he's entitled to it. No.
I have been there, and I can tell you I've been there multiple times. And one of the men that tried to do that to me is in jail, which is lovely. But, but there are many that aren't. And I think as women, if we don't say, you know what, I'd rather lose everything and start over than not fight this fight and win, right?
I would actually like to say something because it's such a flawed system for women. Because thank God I had Directors Insurance, and anyone listening out there that's an entrepreneur, I can't tell you enough. Please go and get yourself Directors Insurance. That saved me because the bills behind fighting this man was so huge. And the next thing was, what happens is the insurance companies aren't really pushing for you to win, because they need you to settle and move out very, very quickly.
Of course.
So the insurance company actually gives you a lawyer that you have to take that are never good. So they all push you to settle. Now I went out, and I have great friends now I got married in my lawyer's house in the Four Seasons in the Seychelles, and we're very, very good friends now. And he walked into and I say a big thank you to him, because he walked into my house one day and he said, "I'm here to help you." And I said, "I can't afford you anymore." And I'd literally taken the art off my wall. And he said, "No, I'm going to help you." And he goes, "You're knee deep in shit. And when you're knee deep in shit, you need me." And he won the case in less than 2 weeks, because I was going to court by myself, because after 8 years, my lawyers said they weren't coming because I didn't have the last 24,000.
I cannot. I mean,
crazy.
I mean, and you wonder if there's people like that, but look at you now. And but that's why I don't want you to say like, I'm not on top, or I'm not, any of these things, because you really are. And it's like in so many ways. And, you are such a warrior, and you are such a survivor. And, I think that it's just so important, everything you've done. And I think it's really even more important for people to watch, because again, I mean, I think we are living in this world where it's incredibly hard for us to survive these situations, because if they're holding the power, they're holding the money, and all we're holding on to is our name and ourselves and our brands. And I think
we make it look easy. The trouble is, when people look at our lives, we make it look very, very easy, and it's just not. It was really traumatic. And I felt like, and especially with so many big men telling you, you're not going to win this. You're not going to, like, categorically, it wasn't a question.
Right.
You're not. And I'm like, I believe I will. And I'm just going to do it.
At what point did Ladies of London start? Did that all happen after this, before this, during this?
Yeah. No, that way after. So Ladies of London started when I think I was 34 in the office. So I've been off air. That's why it's so funny, because I'm the first housewife in history to ever cross franchises and be brought back.
Stop.
Yeah.
I
can believe that.
Incredible. Well, by the way, it doesn't shock me. It doesn't shock me. I'd want to watch you. I want to listen to you.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, it's not my finest hour, Housewives, as in, like, I'm not my finest version of me, because I don't get to do this. But it's fun. It's a character. But I think with Housewives, I finished in London, and then this was when my company was winding down and I was losing it. So I think it was just all too much for me, because the house like Ladies of London was based on me, my family. So the fights were with my actual family. So I had to go home and actually deal with that. And then, then I was losing my business. And so I kind of felt like, I guess, that my whole world was collapsing. So I quit. And when I quit, and then I got the opportunity to move into Dubai, I quit TV. So I had been off air now, that's probably 9 years. So, and then I realized I was still up in the corridors of Bravo, and, they've always been very kind to me. So I was like, oh, I'm just going to try my luck and they'll never want me back. Yeah. It was like, wonder if they'd ever want me back. And when I sort of got in touch, they're like, come see us. So I did.
It is unbelievable. And I want to hear about Sergio.
Yes.
Tell me about this beautiful, kind, sweet man who is inarguably younger than you, which I think is beautiful. Like, no one even blinks when it's the reverse, right?
No, but you know what? If I had known his age back then, he told me he was 31, Rachel. And at 31, I thought he was too young too. But I didn't know, because he has a beard and he looks kind of older. And I never questioned it. Maybe I didn't want to know. He was 24.
I think you did this.
So,
I think you did earmuffs.
Earmuffs. I've been married 18 years. I really thought I was going to have a bit of fun. So I didn't really care either. So, I just thought it would be fun, and we were going to have this sort of wild, nothing, I don't know, every girl needs to get back on the horse, don't they? And yeah, I didn't expect to be married to him, and we're still with him almost 5 years later, living in Dubai. Oh, he's just pulled up behind me. Sorry, in front of me. And here we are. And he's been, he's probably one of the most mature relationships I've had, because it really is funny. He lets me be me completely. He is willing to learn because he feels like I have the knowledge. I think he's the perfect partner for me, because I can't see an older 50-year-old guy putting up with me in my lifestyle. I think he's just so grounded. He's so grounded.
And you're just happy.
Yes. Content. Very content. I'm just like peace. I'm so zenned out. My mom was like, it's a different you.
What does that feel like, actually? I'm wondering, because now you are starting a new venture, I've heard. Please tell me about this, because I cannot believe you're doing this. I mean, I can, because it's amazing.
So we have the podcast. I've written a book, but it's not out yet. We're doing Bust the Label.
That's what I want to talk about that as well. Sorry, now I want to talk about that as well, because it's supplements, yes?
Yeah, Bust the Label was born out of Sergio and I not fitting into any conventional box. So it's busting out of the label, and our love for health and wellness. And I think, being 47 and my husband's 28, for God's sake, I am under a lot of pressure to keep looking good, feeling good, and keeping up with him. So, and also just, these are things that I've been taking for years for different reasons. So one of the first ones we did was bust my hair loss, which is for skin, nails, and hair, but specifically for me, for hair. I'm actually, I live in Dubai, so if any of you know, they have very hard water, and just hormonally, I'm losing hair. So this was a really important one for me to do, and I love it. Absolutely love it. They're game changers. And then we did a Bust My Bloat, which is something else that I'm very, very big on, because I've suffered with bloating after meals most of my life. And anyone that follows me knows I go to a health clinic every single year, which sort of detoxes me and gets me right. And I believe in gut health. And, everything starts with the gut. So, this was perfect. And it's non-GMO, naturally sourced, peanut-free, gluten-free, kosher and halal. And so obviously living in the Middle East, that's all really important. I'm Jewish, so can't wait to share these with you. And then, by the way, they're all manufactured in the US, which was very important to us, that you guys feel, that they are safe and you feel that you can trust the brand. And then lastly, because I do a zillion things at once, ashwagandha. It's the maximum strength, and I believe in this just because if anyone has kids, busy schedule, it just calms you, it fills you up, it sort of supports your stress hormones, reduces your stress and your food cravings. And it's non-GMO, gelatin-free, vegetarian, kosher, and all the things above. And they also just taste good. And honestly, I have been eating these gummies for years now. I don't get up without taking a gummy. So I hope you guys enjoy them as much as we do. We have spent a year and a half doing this now, so it's really exciting to see it all come to fruition. And I hope you guys support us.
I love it. Listen, I have to say, I am incredibly impressed by you. And I also think that you have really climbed in heels, my friend. Like, I don't say that. I don't say that often, but I really have to say that you've done a lot. You've persevered through a lot. I would say you've had quite a lot of resilience. And, and honestly, I'm glad we talked about your childhood, because I really think it's so important for anyone listening how we talk to our kids, what we do with our kids, and how, it's so funny because people always say, Rachel, why don't you wear mini skirts? Like, why don't you wear short? I never see your legs. I'm like, because I was made fun of as a kid. Like, I had scrawny legs, I had chicken knees, I had this and that.
That's the reason.
It really stayed with me. Really.
Oh my God. I would never, I just thought you liked bell bottoms.
Well, I do. Like, I dress for how I love, but it's definitely been a thing. Like, there are very rare moments that I have shown legs in my life. And it, I'm sure someday I'll look back and be like, why didn't I show everything? Like, what's wrong with me?
It's going to be too late soon, so you better get them out.
Yeah. And I do think that, like, it really, how we grow up really impacts us forever. And you can spend years in therapy and you can, like, go through all this stuff and do the work. And it's true. But I just think that, like, it really does impact us. But I also want to say that it also, in many ways, has also shaped your success and who you are, and really built your resilience. Because I do think that the way we raise our kids today, and we coddle and we never leave them and we fix all their problems and we don't want them to have challenges, and we don't want them to face adversity, but we're like, no, you need to figure this out on your own. But wait, let me just help you. Like, I think that part of the reason you are successful, and part of the reason you are always okay, and part of the reason you have manifested and living this great new life, even if it wasn't your plan, probably none of this was your plan. But I really think this was your plan. You just didn't know about it. You were just meant to live it.
100%. I feel I'm exactly where I'm meant to be now, which is a very, very nice place, because I've woken up for a lot of my adult life going, I'm not meant to be here. And you feel it in your gut. You just know. And it's an awful feeling. And I know a lot of women are out there struggling with that feeling, like, should I, what step to take? And you're incredibly blessed to be in a relationship for 30 years and not question it, or not to have to feel like that. But a lot of women feel like this with your sister, I'm sure,
yeah.
And exactly. And not to know what to do. And you make it look easy. So we all think that we failed or whatever else. And there's the odd person that gets through it like you do, and maybe, as I said to you, I think the fact that you've both been so busy and doing your things is probably what's held you, and you're going to be so grateful. But I think the best thing in life is the peace, the peace that I feel now. The court case is gone. I've started my business. I'm starting my business. I'm starting them all again now.
Isn't it wild?
It's so exciting. And I think everyone's beginning to get really behind me again. And, I'm not scared to start again. And I think that's the true entrepreneurial relationship. I had to go through that to get here.
Yep.
And, I wouldn't change any of it.
And I'm behind you. Because let me tell you, I've seen it. I've been through a lot of what you've been through. And there are those moments where you're like, I'm done. You're at the bottom. You're done. You're just like, I'm done. Like, I literally want to move to a farm in the middle of nowhere where no one knows my name. No one is trying to kick me down. No one is wanting me to fail. No one, all the things. And I've done it 800 times, and there are those moments. And I think that what I want my listeners to really take away from today, because what I get asked a lot is it too late for me to start? I've this, I've that. Is it too late to pivot? Is it too late for this? Is it too late to fall in love? Is it too late? Pivoting. It's like, I actually, by the way, I actually almost called this podcast Pivoting, Because I was like,
oh, it's a good one.
I was like, doesn't everyone
I'm
pivot?
pivoting.
You're pivoting.
Yeah, you have to. You have to. If anyone asked me if they saw me living in Dubai on Housewives of Dubai that didn't exist with a 24-year-old husband, I'd have laughed in their face. Well, here I am, pivoting.
And happier than you've ever been.
Yes.
With epic children.
Yes.
So my friend, you are winning and you are at the top and you just keep climbing or stay where you are. And I loved having you, honestly. It's been such a pleasure. I love talking to you. I feel like it's like our week. It's our week together.
Yes. I know. What are we going to do?
I mean, and I also want to plug Divorce Not Dead because it's so good. And what an incredible name, and how many women I have in my life and men who are not only divorced, but they are the opposite of dead. They've never been happier. So I love you madly, and have a beautiful night. And thank you for being on. This was so much fun.
Thank you, Jane. That was great.
Big kiss. Okay, it's that time in the show when I answer 2 listener questions. So let's see what we have today, and let's get into it. Okay, first question. What is the key to pulling off a caftan without looking swallowed? It's a very common question I get asked, and I totally understand, because actually sometimes I look like I'm being swallowed by my caftans. I think one is to add a belt, so you kind of show your waist and it gives you a little bit of a shape and less volume. Also, there's different cuts and silhouettes of caftans, and some are slimmer and some are obviously much more shapeless and with more volume. So the key is to find one with less volume and really doesn't overwhelm your frame. And also that it's not too long. You know, caftans can be short. So I think the idea is that you want to find one with the least volume but still appears to be a caftan. And if it does have too much volume, you can put a sash around it. Sometimes they come with a little tie belt, or properly belt it. You can even belt it from the inside and then pull it through sort of the batwing sleeve, if that makes sense. If I could show you visually, I would. But that is my answer for that. Okay, second question. Do you have a favorite summertime meal that you like to make? I find I'm doing a lot of fish, a lot of grilled and roasted vegetables, some really farm fresh salads. I even got Caius to eat fish by making it sort of Milanese style. So sometimes I'll take like a really nice white fish like fluke and put almost like a Milanese coating on it, like breadcrumbs, and dip it in egg and flour. And the kids love it and we all love it and it's delicious. But I think for summer, it's just about everything being really light and fresh, and lots of seasoning, lots of lemon and olive oil. I hope that's helpful. Okay, don't forget to submit your questions for next week's episode. All you have to do is DM us your questions to @ClimbingInHeelsPod on Instagram, and I might just answer your question. If you want more Climbing in Heels content, follow me on @RachelZoe and @ClimbingInHeelsPod on Instagram for more updates on upcoming guests, episodes, and of course, all things Curator.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply.
Make this new school year an opportunity for your kids to learn important life skills with Greenlight. Greenlight is a debit card and money app for families where kids learn how to save, invest, and spend wisely, while parents keep an eye on kids' money habits. Greenlight also helps families get into their fall routine with a chores feature that lets parents assign chores and pay kids allowance when they check them off. Get your first month free at greenlight.com/iHeart. Greenlight.com/iHeart.
This is Dr. Laurie Santos from the Happiness Lab. Many people have questions about how to improve levels of happiness. Living a healthy lifestyle is one sure way of increasing happiness. And a good place to start is with your oral health. Just a few small changes to your oral care routine such as changing your toothpaste to Colgate Total, can lead to beneficial changes in your oral health. Colgate Total helps stop oral health problems like gingivitis and cavities before they start, because preventing oral health problems is a lot easier than treating them. Be dentist ready and get Colgate Total at shop.colgate.com/total.